Hey there, listeners. Well, some people will have already given up on this year. Yep, that's right. They've already given up because it's getting close to Thanksgiving and it's getting close to the festive season of Christmas and New Year. For some people, they've given up already. Well, it's not over yet. And don't buy into that kind of thinking about that it is over, because it's not. There's plenty of time for us to get on and do things and bring it home. So today, we're going to talk about the last quarter of the year, so let's discuss.
Welcome to Leadership is Changing. Each week, we and our guests provide information and insights through exploring leading change. This is taking your leadership to another level by finding the balance between executive excellence and personal well-being through stories that inspire real change. It's time to adapt in our fast-moving world when leadership is changing with your host, Denis Gianoutsos.
Well, welcome to another Ask Denis freestyle episode. This is part of the Leadership is Changing podcast, and this is where I'm actually asked a question by our listeners, or I share my thoughts, insights, and experiences from working with many leaders around the globe. All right, listeners, well, today we want to talk about that topic of the last quarter. Go for it. Yeah, it's that time of year again. It's amazing what has actually happened. But you know what? I've just actually spent an awesome week with a group of leaders talking about leadership and what's expected of them and about the kind of leader that they want to be known as, or the kind of leader that they want to show up as in their organizations going forward. And we've had all sorts of guest speakers over that 3-day period. And it was just wonderful to be around people who were like myself, who are out there doing facilitation, talking about leadership, whether they are actually leaders within large corporations or organizations, or whether they're entrepreneurs who are helping leaders as well. Tremendous messages of what was being shared with the audience. Massive learning for some of them. And it was really great just to be part of it and bring it all together and facilitating the whole event. Well, the thing here for today is to talk about, well, it is the last quarter and how do we go for it? And once again, it's surprising how quickly the year has gone. We're almost towards the close of the year already. I just can't believe how quick it's gone. And it's going to get faster and faster every single year. As we talk about on the episodes and interviewing leaders around the world, the fact that we are living in a constant change. In other words, everything around us is moving fast and it's consistently changing all the time. But my question to you is this. Where are you at with your year right now? How are your goals going for the year? And what are you doing to take time out to reflect on the 3 quarters of the year that's just finished? What are you doing to take time out to reflect and think about and plan and strategize around the Q4, the last quarter of the year? It's a wonderful time to take time out to review your goals and think about what you can actually do to really help you and your goals gain momentum towards the end of the year. Also, it's a time about planning for next year. Most people will start to think about it towards the last part of the year, or maybe in the first quarter of the next year. If you start now and you start thinking about planning and start thinking about strategizing what you might need for next year, what a great way to start it by actually thinking about it right now. Well, for some of you right now in the Northern Hemisphere who are listening to this episode, for you, you've had your summer, and now as you move towards autumn and are in autumn right now, the weather, of course, is closing in, and probably you'll find that you're going to have the winter come upon you pretty soon. But it's probably a good time for you now to set your goals for the next year until you get to summer next year, but also what you might need to do in the year after Christmas. For others in Southern Hemisphere, we are now in spring and, of course, heading towards summer. The days are getting longer. The birds are out singing. So this really is a great time for us to also set goals for the remainder of the year and start planning and thinking about the following year. I'm a great believer whereby we need to push things right through to the finish line. Because you see, if you're in sales, more than likely you'll see that your sales will double probably towards the end of the year towards the goal. Maybe you're looking like that you're not even nowhere near that goal right now. But what are you doing today to help you set up for the remainder of the quarter of the year in this quarter? What are you doing to set things up today to make next year a great year for you? For a lot of it comes down to sowing seeds. For a lot of it is about building relationships and meeting a whole lot of people, and start thinking and talking about the year ahead. Here are some things for you to consider in helping bring the last quarter towards the finish line. First thing would be for you to get very clear on your goals. And if not, revisit the old ones. And if so, and you've finished your goals and you've done well, then reset some new ones. Start thinking about what are the new ones you might want to set up between now and the end of the year or into next year. Think and plan on what you need to do to bring the goals to life. Because you see, some of you are probably so close to getting those goals and achieving them, but some of you are thinking about quitting, and some of you have just quit on those goals. Don't give up. Reset yourselves, refocus, reflect, think about where things are at, and do what you need to do. Yeah, sure, you may have some gaps, but what can you do to close those gaps? What can you do to put things in place quickly to be able to bring those goals to life and move forward? The third thing I want to talk to you about is about your resources and what do you need to get the job done. I'm not talking about just about having people around you. For a lot of people right now, they're finding it very hard to find people to come and work with them. There's a few things that I probably should talk to you about here as well. One is, when leaders say that to me, I can't find people, or people leaving my organizations, not sure what to do. Well, I go, well, there's several things that's probably going on here right now. One is, people are making a decision to go and do something else, whether that be a bigger role, whether it be something totally different they want to do. COVID has actually forced a lot of people to stop and take stock of where they are, but also where they might want to go to. It also has allowed people to have time to work from home, and they've been able to reskill themselves, and now they're wanting to go off and do a role in relation to those skills. A lot of people have gone off to start businesses as well, or, as some people I've just been talking to recently, they're just going to take the next 3 to 4 months off and take time out to think, reflect, and reset and re-energize. So when they come back to things in the new year, they're going to come back with things with a vengeance, or come back with confidence and purpose, and a lot stronger because their batteries have been recharged. So think about the resources that you might need around you. People, other items you might need around you to help you get what you need to get done. The fourth area is going to be around massive action. It's time for you to put your foot on an accelerator even more so now. But for a lot of you, you might be going for a while. Well, if that's the case, put your foot down an accelerator even more so now. Keep going. You need to build that momentum. And I know that for a lot of people around at the moment, and I'm saying a lot because it actually seems to be a lot around that I'm hearing this, say these kind of words, they're tired. It comes down to people close to burnout, if they're not actually experiencing burnout. But a lot of it is coming down to change fatigue. And we talk about change fatigue, and that is a thing whereby people are tired of not only having to go through change or implement change or lead the change. And if that fatigue is there, that means they're very tired and they're wanting some time out. But you see, what we've seen are happening around the world in the last 2 or 3 years, whether it be pandemics and other things, it's actually emotionally affecting people. And that's why people are tired. Some leaders are trying to be everything to everybody, and they can't. They can only do it for a very, very short period of time, but they're going to burn out for sure. And so change fatigue is becoming really real for a lot of people. If you are experiencing change fatigue, now for some of you, you may not even know what that means or what it looks like or how it feels. It is a slippery slope, and actually you've got to be careful with it. Change fatigue can also push you towards that burnout. But change fatigue is whereby You are trying to be resilient. You're trying to cope with the situation, and you're either feeling very tired, no energy, or you feel like you can't even reach your goals properly. You're missing deadlines. Change fatigue could be overwhelmed. How much more should I take on? How many more changes are there going to be? A new project. Oh, there's another shiny thing. Let's start a new project. And for a lot of people, they're finding that difficult to handle or difficult to understand what they need to do. It's causing a lot of people to actually self-doubt themselves because they're getting their confidence is being knocked. And that is not because of the fact that they're not able to or willing to or don't have the talent to. It's more about they're not actually sleeping enough. They're under a lot of stress. They're not taking time out for themselves to recuperate, to reset things again. And so this is what's going to be really important. And you would have actually heard this in some of the episodes and they're actually coming out as well in this week in particular. We're talking about mental health. And, what John Hopkins is saying in one of the episodes, which is really important about us actually having a tool kit around us and what you need in that toolkit, but also taking time out and that it's okay to take time out. You may have seen recently that I've actually done an episode about giving yourself permission to take time out. And giving yourself permission to take time out is really important. And it's not only just to give yourself the permission, but actually doing it and following it. Some leaders of late have saying to me that they can't take leave or they're finding it very hard to take leave. And I go, well, that actually is a reflection of you and you as a leader not actually having a succession plan in place, developing people, helping people know that they can step into your role at any time so then you can take some time out. If people are leaving your organization, if people, in other words, are resigning, if they're going off to do other things, if people aren't happy, if they're looking tired and things like that, leaders, I think you need to look in the mirror as well to see whether you're tired, but also whether you've got change fatigue, and then also how are you treating your people? A lot of it is the way that people are being treated. And if you're tired and you've got that change fatigue, you're not going to be able to cope a lot and you're going to suffer as well, or you're going to struggle yourself. So what we're saying here, team, is this, that for us in this last quarter, for a lot of people, you're going to be hanging out for the end of year holiday season. For some countries, it's Christmas, New Year. Other countries maybe not celebrate it, but maybe celebrate other things. But a lot of people sort of tend to look at the calendar year and say there's a new leaf being turned over and we're getting underway with the new year, new start. A lot of you are going to be struggling to try and get there, as I said just before. But put your foot on the accelerator right now. If you need to take some time out, do so. Because if you take a week out now or 2 weeks out now, then you can come back. You can actually push forward into the end of the year and do really well. If you're somebody who feels like you're okay and you can move forward, then do what I said before about take some time to think about things, strategize, put a plan together and put your foot on the accelerator and go for it. If you're somebody who's pretty close to your goal, really work hard now to focus on that goal, relook at things again, reflect on things, and then move forward with massive action around it. Because you're very, very close to actually getting that goal achieved. If you're somebody who feels like you want to start a goal, but maybe it's a little bit too late. No, it's not too late. Go for it. Set the goal. Get very clear on what you're wanting to do and make it happen by doing massive action in relation to your goal. You too, here, listeners, like me, we all can bring the year, that last quarter home very strong. While you're doing that, though, make sure you're having fun, because this is the good part about it, that if we can have fun in what we're doing and we can get out there and achieve and move things forward and be the leaders that we need to be to help our teams and our organizations move forward, then that's really, really what we're looking at doing. Hey, listeners, I want to thank you for joining me on this Ask Denis episode. Until next time, bye for now.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Leadership is Changing with your host, Denis Gianoutsos. Each week, we and our guests provide information and insights through exploring leading change, inspiring executives and leaders to adapt and lead a bigger game in a fast-moving world.